Imagine it's 20,000 years ago. The sun has just disappeared behind the horizon. There are no streetlights, no houses, no electricity. For millions of years, darkness was one of humanity's greatest challenges. Once night arrived, the world became a completely different place. Predators that stayed hidden during the day now began to move. Every strange sound could mean danger. Yet despite all these risks, our ancestors didn't simply go to sleep. In fact, the night may have been one of the most important parts of their day. Around those fires, stories were shared. Friendships grew stronger. Knowledge passed from one generation to the next. And perhaps most surprisingly, many ancient humans may not have slept through the entire night. Evidence suggests they often followed a pattern known today as segmented sleep. So what exactly did ancient humans do when darkness fell? The answer reveals a hidden side of human history that most people never think about. To understand what ancient humans did at night, we first need to understand what night meant to them. Today, darkness is mostly an inconvenience. But for our ancestors, darkness could be a matter of life and death. Human beings are not natural night hunters. Our eyes are designed primarily for daylight. Many predators, however, had a huge advantage once the sun disappeared. They could see better, hear better, and move through the darkness far more effectively than humans could. A lone human wandering at night was extremely vulnerable. This is one reason humans evolved to stay together. In groups, survival became much easier. More eyes meant more awareness. More people meant greater protection. And nowhere was this more important than at night. Fortunately, humans had discovered something powerful: fire. Fire changed everything. It provided warmth. It allowed food to be cooked. And perhaps most importantly, it pushed back the darkness. Predators often avoided fire. For the first time, humans could remain active long after sunset. The campfire became the center of social life. And that may be where some of humanity's most important traditions began. Once the campfire was burning, something remarkable happened. The night was no longer just about survival. It became a time for connection. For perhaps the first time in human history, people had hours of free time after sunset, and they used that time in ways that would shape humanity forever. One of the most important activities was storytelling. Long before books existed, stories carried knowledge. Stories taught survival skills. They warned about dangers. They explained the world. And they helped people remember important information. Some researchers believe storytelling played a major role in human evolution. A good story could keep an entire group engaged. It could strengthen social bonds. And it could pass knowledge from one generation to the next. In many ways, the campfire was humanity's first classroom. But storytelling wasn't the only nighttime activity. Ancient humans also made music. Archaeologists have discovered flutes that are tens of thousands of years old. Music may have helped groups feel more connected. It may have reduced stress. It may have strengthened cooperation. Some scientists even believe music helped large groups work together more effectively. The night also created opportunities for friendship. During the day, survival demanded attention. Food had to be found. Shelter had to be maintained. Dangers had to be avoided. But around the fire, people could simply talk. Friendships became stronger. Trust was built. Relationships formed. Entire communities became more connected. In a strange way, many of humanity's most important social traditions may have begun after dark. Yet there was another mystery waiting in the darkness: sleep itself. And what scientists discovered about ancient sleep shocked many researchers. Most people assume that humans have always slept the same way we do today. Go to sleep, stay asleep, wake up in the morning. But history suggests something very different. For centuries, many humans may have slept in two separate phases. Historians call this segmented sleep. The first sleep began shortly after darkness arrived. People would sleep for several hours. Then something surprising happened. They woke up, not because of danger, not because of an emergency. It may have been completely normal. During this period, people often remained awake for 1 or 2 hours. Some talked, some prayed. Some reflected on their lives. Others simply watched the fire. Then they returned to sleep. Historians refer to this as the second sleep. Evidence for this pattern appears in old records from many parts of the world. People often wrote about waking up in the middle of the night. For them, this wasn't strange. It was simply part of life. Some scientists believe artificial lighting changed this pattern. As nights became brighter, sleep gradually changed. Eventually, many people stopped sleeping in two separate phases. Instead, we adopted the sleeping pattern most people use today. But traces of our ancient habits may still remain. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night for no obvious reason? Some researchers think this may be connected to an older way of sleeping, a sleeping pattern that may have accompanied humanity for thousands of years. But sleeping wasn't the only thing happening after dark. While some people slept, others stayed awake, because someone always had to watch the darkness. And that responsibility may have saved countless lives. Which brings us to another important question. Who protected the group while everyone else slept? While most of the group slept, not everyone closed their eyes. Someone had to stay alert. Because the darkness was never completely safe, predators often became more active after sunset. Wolves were a constant threat. Large cats could quietly move through the darkness, and humans were not the strongest animals in the wild. They survived through cooperation. A single person could be vulnerable. A group was much harder to attack. This may be one reason humans became such social creatures. Night encouraged people to stay together, and staying together increased the chances of survival. Some members of the group may have taken turns staying awake. One person watched while others slept. Hours later, someone else might take over. This simple system could protect the entire camp. Fire helped, but it wasn't a perfect defense. The night still demanded caution. Every strange sound mattered. A broken branch could signal danger. A distant growl could change everything. Human survival often depended on noticing small details. The people who paid attention were more likely to survive. Over thousands of generations, these pressures shaped the human brain. Even today, many people feel uneasy in complete darkness. That fear may have very ancient roots. The darkness our ancestors faced is long gone, but traces of it may still exist inside us. Yet not every night was filled with fear. Sometimes people simply looked up and wondered about the universe above them. The night sky may have inspired some of humanity's earliest questions, questions that eventually led to myths, religion, and science. And those questions would shape the future of our species, because sometimes the most important thing humans did at night was simply look up. When the dangers of the night faded, something else captured human attention: the sky. Ancient humans lived under the darkest skies in history. There were no cities, no streetlights, no glowing screens. Every night, the universe was on full display. Thousands of stars stretched from horizon to horizon. Patterns began to emerge. Humans naturally searched for meaning, and those patterns may have become some of the first stories ever told. A hunter in the stars, a giant animal crossing the sky, a mysterious force controlling the moon. Nobody knows exactly what those first stories sounded like, but we know humans have been telling stories for a very long time. The night encouraged imagination, and imagination changed our species forever. Then there were dreams. Dreams must have been incredibly strange to ancient humans. Imagine falling asleep beside a fire, then suddenly finding yourself somewhere completely different, talking to people who weren't there, visiting places you've never seen, or meeting people who had already died. Without modern science, dreams may have seemed supernatural. Some may have believed dreams carried messages. Others may have believed dreams connected them to another world. We can't know exactly what they believed, but we do know that humans everywhere have always searched for meaning. Questions filled the darkness. What are the stars? Why does the moon change shape? Where do dreams come from? What happens after death? These questions may have sparked some of humanity's earliest beliefs, and those beliefs helped shape entire civilizations, all beginning with people sitting beneath the night sky, looking up and wondering. Night wasn't just about survival. It was also about people. Families spent time together after the day's work was done. During the day, everyone had responsibilities, but night brought a rare moment of peace. Parents could focus on their children. Children could learn by watching adults. Important skills were passed down every generation. Knowledge didn't exist in books. It existed inside people, and night was often the best time to share it. The fire created a natural meeting place. People talked, laughed, and strengthened relationships. Human survival depended on cooperation, and cooperation depends on trust. Trust is built through shared experiences. Nights provided many of those experiences. This may have helped create stronger communities. It may have also played a role in love. After all, night offered privacy. It offered time for conversation and opportunities to form deeper bonds. Families grew. Children were born, and new generations entered the world. Those children would eventually learn the same stories, the same traditions, and the same survival skills. In this way, the night helped shape the future. Every generation passed something forward: knowledge, culture, values, and belonging. These invisible connections helped humanity survive, because humans were never meant to face the night alone. We survived together, and that may be one of the most important things ancient humans did at night. Ancient nights may feel unimaginably distant, but their influence may still be with us. In fact, many of our behaviors still carry traces of the past. Consider our fear of darkness. Most people know there is nothing hiding in the shadows, yet many still feel uncomfortable. Millions of years of evolution don't disappear overnight. The darkness our ancestors feared shaped the brains we use today. Even our love of gathering together may have ancient roots. We still sit around fires, We still tell stories, we still look at the stars, and we still wonder about the universe. Some people even wake up in the middle of the night, just as their ancestors may have done thousands of years ago. In some ways, we're not so different from them. We still seek safety, we still seek connection, we still search for meaning. The tools have changed, the world has changed, but human nature remains surprisingly familiar. So what did ancient humans do at night? They told stories, they watched the stars, they protected one another, they raised families, they shared knowledge, they dreamed, they wondered, and sometimes they simply sat beside the fire, looking into the flames, listening to the sounds of the night, watching the stars move across the sky, much like we do today, because despite thousands of years of change, the night is still the night, and humans are still human. The next time you wake up in the middle of the night, remember, you may be experiencing something your ancestors understood very well.